No one wants to hate these games, all right? You know what makes people angry at these games and decide to take a swipe at them? When you make stupid like this, and people try to play this as a gotcha on me. I said I love the Sakaguchi era of Final Fantasy. That's not the same as me saying I love literally anything he makes. By that logic, I then have to love Spirits Within. I don't. In games that specialize in storytelling, there is no excuse for bad pacing, bland English voice acting, bloated, repetitive dialogue. If you want to know why I made that tweet where I had to go Bravely Default, this is to blame, all right? This started it. Okay, so the pinned tweet I've got here, and I should make a video about this at some point as well, because the quote tweets and the responses to this tweet show you kind of what the discussions around modern JRPGs and FF was like before E33 made the splash it did. I posted this the day this launched, after my first stream of it. I streamed it on launch, I posted this while I was eating food afterwards. This blew up, got 8.5 million views, 13,000 likes, and a lot of the people arguing this in the replies and the quote retweets, they show you what the pre-E33 world looked like. And I remember someone retweeted this with this meme. I don't remember who it was, but they retweeted it with this bullshit meme.
Turn-based fans with Square Enix releases a non-FF turn-based game. I pretend I do not see it. Whee!
And what do we have here? You reckon you're pretty tough, don't ya?
You reckon you're pretty tough, don't ya?
Bravely Default 2. And the thing is, I actually don't want to knock any of these games. I'm glad that we have Dragon Quest. I'm glad that we have Triangle Strategy, Octopath 2. I'm glad we have these options. But this got like something like 40,000 views. And I gotta say, it did piss me off because I'm like, man, this is a fucking lie. And you know it is. I thought I may as well address this as well. So I made this tweet over here that said, this meme is one of the biggest lies in the JRPG community. It's low, even by their standards. Final Fantasy has always pushed the boundaries. From NES to PlayStation, it is the blockbuster of JRPGs. Now, I probably didn't need to put this part in, but whatever. I did want to make the point that from FF1, it was even like this. In 1986, Dragon Warrior, should have said Dragon Quest, but it was Dragon Warrior when I played it, damn it. It was the biggest name in the genre. In fact, Dragon Quest is considered, I think, the founder of the JRPG genre in a way. But when FF1 came out, a year later, in 1987, it made it look dated. FF then overshadowed Dragon Quest for decades, which it did in the West. Maybe not so much in Japan, but it did in the West. I'll give you an example. So someone asked, like, how it looked dated or whatever. In Dragon Warrior, when you walk onto like a staircase or a door, there is no action button, all right? And you don't automatically go through it. You have to open the menu, you have to select door or stairs, press that, and then you'll go through the door or the staircase. If you press door on stairs, nothing's gonna happen. You press stairs on doors, nothing's gonna happen. In other words, this is too many steps, all right? In Final Fantasy 1, you just go up and you press the action button. That's it, you go through. This is simply more efficient. It's just a better system. No one would ask for this to come back. Second of all, FF1 had better graphics than Dragon Quest 1. If you compare them side by side, they just do. Not saying Dragon Quest 1 is bad, I played the shit out of this. And I also named, because I was 10 years old, I named my character Bumhead, and I regretted that later on. It looks so fucking stupid. Everyone's saying like, welcome, Sir Bumhead. Thou hath saved the princess. And like, Bumhead hath saved the land. Oh God, I felt so stupid. Also, because I was a kid, I didn't realize that's his chin. See his face? I thought that was his nose. I thought he just had a really long nose. Like that. God, such an idiot. But anyway, classic game, you know, Dragon Quest 1, but Final Fantasy 1 was the step up from that. And if you look at, say, FF4 to 10, it overshadowed Dragon Quest that entire time, to the point where I have a little tinfoil hat conspiracy theory that Enix has been trying to ruin Final Fantasy ever since it bought Square, as out of revenge for FF overshadowing Dragon Quest for that long. This is my little Alex Jones, like, the tone of the freaking FF's gay! This is my little conspiracy theory. I got no proof, but I also wonder if that's true, because it certainly feels like it. I mentioned Dragon Quest because, you know, FF1 topped it from its inception. Then, in 1997 to 2001, FF7 to 10 were a gold standard in gaming. The only company that could compete with their cinematics was Blizzard. This is years before YouTube was even invented. And the best cutscenes in the world at that time, I would say Diablo 2 is where you got really amazing cutscenes. It's still a bit primitive in Warcraft 2, but Diablo 2 is where shit looked real for its time period back then. Warcraft 3 is when the whole world was like, what the fuck is this? Warcraft 3, I would say, topped even 7, 8, 9 in graphical fidelity, and I would say Warcraft 3 and FF10 were on par. They were incredible. They were just amazing. In fact, they still look good today. I'm saying it right now, they haven't aged. They are that fucking good. Everyone who lived through that time period, even if you weren't into those games, you knew that these games had the best graphics. And remember, we're not talking about graphics alone, all right? And this is the next important point. Not only that, it aimed to excel at everything else. Storytelling, characters, music, gameplay. And this is a really important point that I'm making here, because you know, the liars and the gaslighters will then say, oh, so you just want expensive graphics and nothing else. No, I want the full package. Everyone wants the full package. It's not just the best graphics ever. We want the best fucking everything. And that's what FF was. Not just from 7 to 10, I would say from 4 to 10. Because 4, 5, 6, 4 is the first great FF. It's the first one to have the first great memorable story, the first great memorable cast. Like, we all know Cecil, Kane. I can't name any of their characters from FF1 to 3. And you probably can't either. And if you can, no one cares. All right. It all started with FF4. 6 is immensely iconic, even though I prefer 4. 5, I don't think its story and characters are as strong or memorable, but its combat system, its gameplay is just amazing. It's so good. 5, I would argue, has one of the best gameplay designs out of all of them. It's like a mainline FF that plays like FF Tactics. It's so good. It's just wonderful. When people today say that they want a turn-based Final Fantasy, they mean a game with that ambitious design philosophy. None of the games in this meme have the cutting-edge feel of FF. They instead aim to replicate visual styles. I should have said visual styles. Styles from 20 years ago. Triangle Strategy, that's aiming to replicate the look of Tactics Ogre and Final Fantasy Tactics from like 1998. Octopath Traveler sort of looks like the evolution. Octopath Traveler looks like if FF never went 3D after 6 and it just kept evolving along that. I respect that as well. Dragon Quest is basically, I guess, like Final Fantasy's cousin, but it looks like Dragon Ball. Nothing wrong with the Dragon Ball aesthetic. It's not quite for me in games. I love Dragon Ball though, don't get me wrong, I can talk about that all day. And then you got Bravely Default 1 and 2, which are aiming to, if you liked FF9 the most, then I guess these might cater to you. I can't really speak on the storytelling quality or the voice acting quality or the writing, but whatever. If you're looking for a modern FF9, maybe Bravely Default might be the best you got. Or a 3D FF4, 5, 6, I don't know. Fantasian's interesting because, for those of you who don't know, after Sakaguchi left Squaresoft and went on to make Lost Odyssey and stuff, he also made Fantasian. Here's how I look at Fantasian. There's a reason it doesn't grab me, and people try to play this as a gotcha on me. They always try to say like, oh, so you love Sakaguchi, but you won't play Fantasian. It's like, no, I said I love the Sakaguchi era of Final Fantasy. That's not the same as me saying I love literally anything he makes. By that logic, I then have to love Spirits Within. I don't. I look at Fantasian the same way I look at the Beatles after they broke up. The solo music of John Lennon, Paul McCartney, and so on and so forth. Which is where I think that they wrote some decent-ish music, but it just does not have the magic of when they were the Beatles. It just doesn't. Not even Imagine. I think the Beatles worked the best when they were all together because you had McCartney's incredible melodies, his incredible tunes. You had John Lennon's really interesting lyrics and ideas. You had the psychedelic aspect of George Harrison. And then you had the normality, the relatability, and the fun of Ringo Starr. I fucking love Ringo Starr, man. I'm gonna say this. People say, oh, he was just lucky he was the drummer for this band. No, fuck you. Ringo Starr fucking rules. He's immensely talented. And that's how I think about Fantasian. I've looked at Fantasian, and I'll tell you what, let's just do it right now for you guys. So this is Sakaguchi, and I think Uematsu is working on this as well. This shows you how valuable Nomura is to Final Fantasy. This shows you how important Nomura is as a character designer. All I see is, with all due respect, it looks like budget Nier Automata, and then completely forgettable generic anime girls number 2 and 3, all right? You need Nomura for this. And I'm gonna say something even crazier. I think you need Kitase. Because I think Kitase I think he's the one responsible for the character aesthetic of FF7 and 8. I think that he's that one. If Sakaguchi has full control, the characters are gonna look fucking weird. They're gonna look like FF9. That is Sakaguchi with full aesthetic control. 7 is actually a compromise between him and Kitase. The sort of chibi blocky sprites you see on the field, that's how Sakaguchi wants it there. But how they look in cutscenes and in battles, where they look like full adults and look really cool, that's Kitase. From what I hear, I might be wrong, but I'm gonna take the word of people who've studied this, and gone down these rabbit holes. 8 is interesting. 8 is where Kitase goes full Kitase, and you get some of the coolest looking characters in the entire history of the series. I would even say that Squall is one of the coolest looking main characters in all of video game history. I reckon Squall can compete with the best today. I reckon Squall's up there with Kratos and Joel from The Last of Us. Yeah, no, Squall looks fucking awesome. Yeah, Gunblade as well, baby. That's what I'll say about Fantasian. It's like there's glimpses of Final Fantasy in it, but it's not the full package, which is what I and people want. That's why I'm saying these games don't have the cutting edge feel, the blockbuster feel of Final Fantasy. They don't. These may fill those gaps in the market, for those aesthetics, but none of them fill the void that Final Fantasy left behind. It's true, none of them do. No one is pretending not to see them. They're just not interested. That's it. And this shit pisses me off, because I can't stand how people just fucking lie. They understand exactly what you're saying. They get your point. They just pretend not to. They know this isn't what you want, but then they lie and say it is. All right? I don't even think they believe their own lies. And I think the reason they do this is because they can't handle criticism of these games. They think that if these games come under serious scrutiny, they'll fall apart. And you know what? Some of them might, man. But here's the thing. I would not be harsh on any of these games at all. I feel I was a bit mean to Bravely Default 2, all right? And I'm going to get to that in my tweets. But no one wants to hate these games, all right? You know what makes people angry at these games and decide to take a fucking swipe at them? When you make stupid shit like this. If you want to know why I made that tweet where I had to go at Bravely Default, this is to blame, all right? This started it. Another thing I find annoying is I have to be held to a perfect standard in how I word things. And anything I word slightly imperfectly, that's going to be used to attack me. No one holds these people to account. No one from this community holds their own to account when they fucking lie and insult and hurl abuse at me and everyone else. Why do they get infinite free passes and I can't even screw up once, even in the most minor way possible? Bravely Default 1 has a pretty great story. That's cool. That's great if it does. But it's not what I'm looking for. That's it. It's like, okay, let me put it this way. Here's this meme in a nutshell, all right? If you had a favorite steak place, you make steak, and then one day its steak starts sucking. They can't make a good steak anymore. It's just rubbish. If someone gave you a sausage and said, see, it's the same thing. No, it's not. No, it's not. A sausage is not a steak. Not saying it's bad, but it's not what I want, and it's not what I asked for. And then here's me just fucking around here. I was like, you know how like they're saying that like, oh, it's not a JRPG because it has to be made in Japan. So I was just bored and I wrote, if Australia makes a turn-based role-playing game, is that an ARPG? Because the Australia? Or if Jamaica makes an action role-playing game, is that a JRPG? Technically it is. Now, I'll tell you what, I would pay good money for a Jamaican Final Fantasy 16, all right? I think that would actually fucking slap. I think that'd be dope. But yeah, I just think it's down to semantics. And what I would say, right, actually, what I should have asked is this. Okay, a JRPG has to be made by a Japanese person, right? If a French person makes sushi, is that food French or Japanese? Can anyone answer that question? If a Chinese person makes a plate of spaghetti, is that food Italian or Chinese? I don't know. I mean, this is how ridiculous this argument becomes. I mean, because when I look at E33, to me, it just looks like it plays like FF10 or Persona if it had parries and different graphics. Well, different graphics from Persona, at least. Oh, yeah, and then I did this. Not gonna lie, I was feeling a bit bad about this, to be honest. I thought I'd been a bit too harsh and a bit too general, because there's a lot of modern JRPGs that I want to play. Respect for not deleting your tweets. unlike certain people who do because they crash out. I've had people delete tweets, insult the fuck out of me. I respond to them and then they delete it. And I'm not even mean. I just like, I just basically like, I didn't say that. I said this. Add a note to it and say, all right, maybe I was a bit too harsh here. I could have worded things better. But I don't want to delete it because I'd rather tank the hit. Actually, I'll tell you why I don't delete them. Because I'm literally trying to live like a Turian in Mass Effect. I remember I played the first game of this halfway through, and there was something about their lore that was absolutely fascinating to me. Turians are widely known for their strong sense of personal accountability and are taught to own every decision they make, good or ill. And I thought that was fascinating. It said, like, yeah, lying about one's actions is considered the worst sin in their culture. So when they made mistakes or missteps or like, I could have done this better, they will they'll own it. They'll just be like, yep, I did that, and that's part of me now. And that influences hopefully I make better decisions from now on after that point. And that really moved me, that thing about Turians. And that's why I don't delete my tweets. Even if I'm like, fuck. So anyway, I made a new profile pic because after I changed it, I'm like, I realized this tweet looks strange out of context. This was my profile when I made it. So I had the little IAR face. I actually I'm not ripping on Doki Doki Literature Club. I actually love this game. So I put that, and I think it has such a funny title. So I made that my banner, and my bio was, Expedition 33 sucks, lol. In all caps. I just thought like it could be funny to just pretend to blend in for a bit, but like just really badly, just really obviously. So it's like, I am here to discuss why Clair Obscur is the worst game ever. More like Colonization 33, am I right? Persona Blade 4 was better, lols. And then, look, these really didn't go anywhere. But I thought it was just fun for a bit. I thought, let's just be a bit silly, it's fine. But then I wrote this, help, I'm being colonized by X-Midition 33. I've had someone actually say that in my comments, call it X-Midition 33. Jokes, Octoblade 4 is better, Lemille. And it's just me fucking about, it's just me being dumb. I saw a lot of people get pissed off at this. Well, actually, let's leave the chain of events that go here. You literally wouldn't be saying this if you played any of the good Atlas games, Persona, whatever. I'm like, saying what? That the JRPG fandom's been saying that E33 is mid, slop, and nothing special? You know they have been. I'm sick of having to say not all with everything. Okay, it's your usual suspects. Stepping over other games to raise another game that will eventually drown in the sea of the exact same genre is what you're doing. What? What is this sentence? I don't think people would ever have an issue with E33 if its fans were more normal about it and didn't do what you just described. I've made a tweet about this before, where the JRPG fandom says, oh, you know, they struck first. It's like, no. Here's how it actually happened, because I was there from the start. Normal person says, I like Clair Obscur. JRPG fan says, it's mid-slop, you fake fan tourist. Insert JRPG here, Xenoblade, whatever. This is better. Normal person. That game just didn't interest me. JRPG fan, oh my god, why are you shitting on these games? How dare you put down the whole genre? Ray! Alright, we've all seen this in action. Dog, you just took a clip of Bravely Default 2 and called it baby slop. Now this is where I could have worded my response better. But I didn't delete the tweet. I was like, you know, I could have worded this better. I'm not saying you can't enjoy it, but I am being completely objective when I say it looks like it was made for babies. Look at it. Now, I actually, as I say, I think I'm being a bit harsh here. And in a later response, I said, look, you can like this, whatever, you can enjoy it. Let's not say it was made for babies. The characters look like babies. Can I say that? Am I allowed to say what my eyes see? Look at this one on the right, all right? I'm not saying it's badly written. I'm not saying it's a bad game. What I see is I'm allowed to say what I see, okay? What am I supposed to do? A lot of people freaked out about that. A lot of anime PFPs quote tweeted it. Very, very harsh words against me. But look, I'll tell you what, this is why I wrote this. I'm seeing a lot of anime PFPs lose their mind over this response I wrote. To be honest, I'm being too harsh on Bravely Default, okay? If you like chibi art, fine. Despite the fact that it's not my favorite aesthetic, Final Fantasy IX is still one of my top 5 FFs. I think it is one of the best stories and casts in the entire series. I mean that. You can see my whole voice-acted playthrough of this on my VOD channel, which I just loved. One of my favorite playthroughs. The reason I bring up Bravely Default at all is because of this. When someone says they want a modern turn-based Final Fantasy with realistic graphics, like FF16 or 15, Bravely Default is one of the games that many Square Enix fans push on them like it's a substitute. They know it's not what you asked for, but they pretend not to understand. Then they play word games like, say, Bravely Default was originally meant to be an FF, so it is what you want, ooh. They lie to your face and they act smug while doing it. This dishonest behavior breeds resentment over time. It's true, it's why I, got pissed off about this. But, you know, all that being said, it's unfair to take it out on the game, okay? So I'll say it again. You're allowed to like Bravely Default. I'm just some random guy on the internet. Who cares what I think? And whenever I saw someone retweeting this, getting angry about this, I just put this in their comments, and I'm like, look, maybe you should have retweeted this instead. Cause yeah, you know, whatever. You like your game, you like your game. You can't help what you like. I'm not here to be mean to you for that. In fact, me being harsh on this is the result of people saying, oh, you want a turn-based Final Fantasy? Okay, here you go. This is what you wanted. People only have so much patience, man. It isn't always fun having a lot of people on this platform just hurl abuse at me, lie to me, lie about me, and so on and so forth. It's not fun, but I'll do it anyway because a lot of people think I'm just trolling. And some of my posts are, you know, very tongue-in-cheek, but I'm not. Here's the crazy thing. I'm not actually. Trolling is not my priority. It can be a funny side effect. My priority is to raise the standard of storytelling in modern JRPGs. And it's as simple as that. I say things in a way that can be funny or entertaining or provocative. That is because I want to force the argument. I want to put attention on this serious set of issues in modern JRPGs. In games that specialize in storytelling, there is no excuse for bad pacing, bland English voice acting, bloated, repetitive dialogue that's just full of mandatory exposition and lore dumps. You want games with a childish or teenage tone? Fine, but that should not be the only option, okay? There needs to be a mature option. There needs to be an adult option as well. Square Enix did that study and found out that the vast majority of Final Fantasy players, the average player is 38 or 42. Well, there you go, mate. Make some games for 38-year-olds, 40-year-olds, all right? They're there. To anyone who says oh, well, that's just gaming's not for you anymore. No one says this is about movies or music. No one says, oh, you know, we only make movies for kids and for teenagers. We don't make movies for 30-year-olds or 40-year-olds or 50-year-olds. No, fuck you. It's stupid. Oh, I used to love movies, but I can't watch them anymore because I'm 30. Get fucked, man. This is bullshit. And the fact that the Video Game Awards were bigger than the Oscars this year tells you where it's at right now. You don't even know if the Oscars happened or not, but everyone knows about the VGAs. That's our generation's version of the Oscars. And the last thing I'll say is that you want a chibi aesthetic option? Fine. You want an anime aesthetic option? Great. You want a pixel aesthetic option? Fantastic. You live in a great timeline because right now that's all you've got in JRPGs. That's all you've got. But there is a market, there is a demand, there is a desire for a realistic 3D look. There always has been. And you are not wrong for wanting that, all right? You're not a bad person for wanting that. Because, especially in the Square Enix modern fan-based discussions, you are a thought criminal if you want a modern turn-based JRPG with realistic graphics. You are a thought criminal. You should be put... That's literally how they respond to it and how they treat it. And I'm sick of this bullshit. And I want to argue against that. Yeah, but I'm not going to let these people ruin my sense of humor, all right? I'm not going to be dragged down to their serious, unfunny level. Yes, I'm gonna have a bit of fun while I do this, but at the core of this, my motivation is that the storytelling in this genre needs to be better. We don't make these excuses for anything else, for any other genre. Better to have a conversation than not because you couldn't care less. Barricade, if I didn't care, I wouldn't say anything at all. Anyway, I'm walking here. I'm just rambling on at this point.
You reckon you're pretty tough, don't you? Well, perhaps you better smash the like button and subscribe. Maybe leave a comment. Or prepare to die, drongos!
That was today's episode of Sebbo's Bizarre Adventure, Twitter Dust Crusaders, all right? Golden Twits. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it.